So I made myself look like the biggest loser. Like it was just, hey guys, laugh at me, not with me. And that was kind of like the light switch. It was like, oh shit, I gotta stop talking about how much of a loser I am. I've got a mic in my hand. I have power. Am I gonna use it on other Asians? Or I'm gonna try to use it to make myself look good and lift all of us up a little bit. And that changed how I approach stand-up.
DKPHAN, a Toronto comedian and voice actor who left a decade in tech to chase the mic.
From Yuk Yuks to absolute comedy and stages across North America, he's built his career on sharp storytelling and bold perspective.
DK explains, comedy isn't just jokes, it's a reflection of today's society. Please welcome DKPHAN on Mindset Journaling.
And I just hit 40 and nobody knows who I am. And then I just wonder every day, is like, okay, am I too old for stand-up?
Do you feel that stand-up comedy is kind of like therapy, except you're not asking for advice or help, you're just forcing people to listen to your problems and what you have to deal with?
If you at home feel that you need therapy, go find a therapist. Don't do stand-up comedy as a cheap alternative to therapy. You have problems, you should find a professional to help you with those problems.
Is there an insecurity or fear that comedians have that people who are not in the industry wouldn't understand?
Am I wasting my life? What am I doing this for? And a lot of the life lessons I've learned in the world came from stand-up. Like you tell your point of view, your lesson, and then you just add a punchline to the end of that. The punchline is generally the hardest part a lot of the time because anyone can get up and be like, here's my point of view. And I'm like, cool, but I paid for a joke. Where's the joke, right?
What is it that comedy gives you that nothing else gives you?
Oh, God. That's a really good question.
Quick 30 seconds before the episode starts, I just want to say a big thank you for tuning in today. It truly means a lot, and I appreciate you spending the next hour or so with me. If it's not too much, I have a small favor to ask. If at any point you find value in these conversations, it would mean the world to me if you would hit that subscribe button and follow the show. By doing so, it lets me know that these conversations do make an impact and helps the show reach more people who might need to hear this. Thank you, and let's begin.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Mindset Journaling Podcast featuring your host,
Vincent
Hill, and tonight his guest is going to be yours truly right here, DKPHAN. I'm a stand-up comedian, and we are shooting season 2, episode 5 of this amazing podcast. We made it to season 2, baby. How's it feel?
Feels good.
I feel like you should be asking me the question, and I had just hijacked this entire podcast from you altogether. Take control, Vincent. What are you doing with your life?
Let's start. You ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
I'm gonna call you Dean.
Okay,
because I know
cool.
you as Dean.
Yeah,
rather
it's
than
weird
DK.
if you call me DK.
Yeah, it is. Feels awkward for me.
So I guess we can explain it to the viewers out there. So my stage name is actually DKPHAN, which is short for Dan Kwa Huyen Phan, but I have an anglicized name as well. It's Dean, which is what got Vincent and Eric on the back the camera there. They were my old kung fu students, so they would know me as Sifu Dean. Sifu Dean.
It feels weird not calling you Sifu.
Listen, I don't even know how to talk about my dad in front of you guys. I have to be like, Sifu Dad. So.
Oh yeah, we just call him Sifu.
Oh, yeah,
and then we
my
just
mom
call
like
you
Simo. Yeah, but I was like, yeah.
Simo.
So my dad, and you're like, who? What? Your dad? Sifu Dad? You mean? Yeah, just really weird, especially when I talk to Ben about that stuff. So
how do you say it? Did you say Sifu Dad?
At home, he's like, hey, Sifu Dad, can I borrow some money?
Yeah.
No, I just call him Dad. I call my dad and mom like any other standard Canadian child in his 40s. Nothing special there, yeah.
Even in the dojo, Dad?
You know what? I used to, I think for the entire time, and you guys never notice because I'm also teaching you guys, so I'm also Sifu Dean.
Yeah.
Like, hey Dad, can you do this? And I wouldn't make a big deal of it until eventually when I was teaching you guys and I'd be like, well, Sifu, it felt weird to me. And it just became a thing, I think around like 2018, where I started referring him to as Sifu Dad. And then Ben and Danny be like, yeah, Sifu Dad. And then they would just chime in and yes and it. So became kind of like a weird sticky gag after a while. And we would just refer to
your dad
Sifu as Sifu Dad. Yeah, because you can't just call everyone Sifu. It's not like, okay, we'll teach it. I guess you could. And it's still weird to me now that some of you guys will still refer to me as like Sifu Dean outside if you catch me in a Walmart and I've just got like a bag of cabbages in my hand. Like, yeah. Okay, why are you bowing to me in public? That's weird. Get away from me. Go home. Go. I'm gonna go to the checkout line now. This is weird. Yeah, I guess it's nice. It's a sign of respect at the end of the day. A lot of people say that like once you are somebody's Sifu for the first time, you're like that. All the time.
You'll always be seen as the Sifu.
Yeah, and especially when you're younger and your children, even when I was a kid, your teachers don't have a life outside of the school. Like they just cease to exist So when you see them in a day-to-day life, like you have interests and hobbies and like, what is happening? I didn't know that you've gone through puberty before. That's weird. You're just a teacher. Go. So yeah, Sifu, whatever you want to call me, I guess.
Okay.
At the end of this long-winded ramble.
We'll
Dean?
call you.
All right, Dean.
If I say Sifu Dean, you know,
Sure. Yeah.
it just slipped out. Dean, you lived a pretty interesting and unique life so far, in my eyes, doing research. You went from...
It's a very fancy way of saying stalking.
I do research.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? You went from being a martial arts teacher to go into tech.
Yep.
And now entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
To those who don't know who you are yet, how would you briefly describe who DK is?
How would I briefly describe myself? Charismatic, incredibly handsome, talented, loving, caring, foul-mouthed, honor, respect, discipline, self-defense, spirit. I don't know.
Oh man.
Yeah, all of those, pretty much. Yeah. I don't like to be bored in life, so I started out. I went to high school. I got into that IB program, which is a complete waste of money. So I was actually the dumb kid in the smart class for a little bit.
Does that make you the smartest person in a dumb school?
I was the smartest kid in the dumb school until like grade 8. And they're like, oh, this kid knows what he's doing. And they're like, let's put him in the smart kid class. And then I was the dumbest kid in the smart class. So I was just like incredibly ordinary. I wasn't special anymore. I would say that like when you're given that much validation as a kid, it gets to your head and you become cocky. So I actually didn't do so hot in my first year of university because I went through the first few months thinking like, you know what? I am better than every other one of you. And I aced my first set of midterms, started skipping classes, and I just watched my marks go like, yeah, because they were putting the work in it, right? So I feel like a lot of smart kids become very mediocre adults. I'm a prime example because I'm not even in like a STEM industry. But yeah, so I went to university for IT. I went to the school called Ryerson. I'm making that up. It didn't exist. Ryerson. It was located at Dundas Square. I'm making that up too. That doesn't exist either. So not a real degree. No, but I went to school for IT. Got a desk job right out of school, working a lot of like tech jobs, support jobs, stuff like that. And by my second year of being like a fully formed adult, I hated my job. I was sitting in a cubicle, just doing support for this company called Affilius, where they would manage top level domains, like anything. If you want to buy like a .com or .org or a .info or whatever, we were the company. Well, I guess for us it was .info and .org were the big ones. We would manage that. And I was sitting in a cubicle in like a 12-hour shift, I think, like an overnight shift that they make you do there. And I was thinking to myself, why am I sitting in a cubicle for like hours a day questioning my life decisions when I can question my life decisions and disappoint my parents as well by getting into the arts? So when I was at that second job, I started taking acting classes and improv classes because my sister was taking them as well. And it was just a lot more fun until, and this is all at Second City, on a dare, somebody said, hey, why don't you try the stand-up comedy class? So I did one of those, and everything is relative at the end of the day. So I was actually better than a lot of my peers in that beginner stand-up class. So in the grand scheme of things, I was still complete garbage. And I never show anyone my first set because it is the worst thing that I've ever seen myself do. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I got okay laughs. And it was one of those forms of art where it was very solitary, very lone wolf-ish in a weird way.
What do you mean by lone wolf-ish?
So when I was taking improv, if I wanted to like practice or do a scene, I had to call people up. And I was still a shy kid at that point. I was like 24, 25 or something. And I still was like a really weird, awkward person.
Transitioning?
Yeah, I was kind of like coming out of my shell. I was a late bloomer. So I didn't really want to call people, be like, hey, do you want to play pretend with me in like an empty studio? But with stand-up, you could actually go to open mics by yourself, sign your name on a sheet, and then all the glory is yours. You just go up there, you tell jokes. You don't have to make friends, although that helps a lot. And you go home and then you just rinse and repeat that without having to coordinate with other people until you start to hit those next levels where you have to like produce shows and plan things together. But it was very kind of like lone wolf friendly as an art form in a weird way. Yeah. But so that was kind of like the lead up into stand up. But I was doing a tech job. I had a work from home job until 2020. January of 2020, I had a tech job. And during that, I had just gotten married. I just saw Louis C.K. at Yuk Yuks for $30 right after he got Me Too'd. And he was just kind of like doing his kind of like recovery tour and stuff like that. So I went to Niagara Yuk Yuks to watch him live. And on the wall, there was just a bunch of pictures of like my friends and peers who had made it into the club system. And that, after I think I was doing it at like for 9 years at that point. So I started stand up in 2010.
Was it just here and there, or were you taking it seriously since 2010?
I'd say I was working hard at it since 2010, but I wasn't like a full-time professional until maybe like 2020. So that's when I decided to quit my job, and I gave my boss 2 months of notice, so not 2 weeks.
2 months of notice.
Yeah, it was a work from home job. I worked there for like I think a total of 12 years at the end of the day, and he was a good guy. So I was like, and I was kind of higher up on the ladder, so I was like, okay. Fair warning, I want out of here, but I don't want to leave you high and dry, and I want to build up a good relationship with you. In case things go south and I kind of need to come crawling back, I'll help you hire a replacement, train them, make sure everything's okay. And he's like, yeah, no, I really appreciate that. I really don't want you to go. What can I do to make you stay? And I was like, this much money? He's like, that's too much money. And I was like, okay. But as a going away gift, he actually bought me my second voice acting microphone. So I was just using a cheaper one at the beginning. And he's like, what do you want as a going away gift? And he's like, here's a wish list. It's like, and he picked the most expensive thing that I gave him. It was like, yeah, we'll do a little going away party for you. Here's a gift. Stay in touch. Maybe we'll need you for some voice content or something like that. But don't be a stranger. And it was a good relationship. So I'm very thankful for him. There's a company called QuizCom. They also let me work from home. So before I had met my wife, I was actually traveling a bit as a junior comic, just checking out all the different cities, the different scenes of stand-up while not taking vacation days and just working off of like people's couches or hotel rooms. And then I met my wife, and that really slowed things down a fair bit because she didn't want me gallivanting all over the place and just ditching her to tell dick jokes in a empty bar in like Atlanta or something like that. So yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's the backstory, the lore of Sifu Dean, DK, Phan, whatever.
So you've been actively doing it since 2010.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until 2020 where you actually went all in?
Yeah. So it was January of 2020. And we all know what happened. The Fire Nation attacked. So it was like March, I think, somewhere middle of March was when my last day was. And that's when everything started to shut down. Yeah. So
you planned it. You knew.
I knew. Well, I didn't. Like, I thought, okay, well, this is a weird set of timing. And if I had known better, I wouldn't have left during that time because, like, I wouldn't have been able to do stand-up because, stand-up was one of the first things that got shut down. We're not essential. We're not feeding you. We're just making you laugh at dick jokes and
So
shit.
then what happened during that period?
So luckily I had registered a business during that time. So it kind of looked like I was self-employed for a little bit. So I was able to collect some CERB money because it was legitimate. It was like, okay, I'm going to go full-time on this. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, okay, no, I'm not. So that was kind of a weird exploratory phase for me. So I was trying to find different ways of pulling in income. I had taken some, by then I started taking acting and voice acting classes again, and then started putting more focus into voice So when I told my wife I don't want to be in a full-time job anymore, and I'm very blessed. I have a very supportive wife who is willing to hold down the fort. It was actually her idea because she saw me finishing my shift at a remote job before it was cool and telling me like, babe, you look really cranky. I think this is taking a toll on you. Tell you what, if you want to just quit and make this work, come up with a business plan. We'll figure it out together, hit these checkpoints, and I'll hold down the fort until things work. And if after X amount of time we don't hit these checkpoints or milestones or it's not working, we'll just go back to working a corporate job. I was like, okay, cool. So she like held it down for a little bit, and I'm very lucky to have her kind of like, being behind me. Yeah. So when I did this, we thought it was going to be shut down for 2 weeks. It was a lot longer than 2 weeks. So at that point, I started panicking a little bit because like there was a CERB thing, but that's like not enough. So I started looking at all these different jobs that were closer to the film industry for me. And I saw this listing on Facebook where they said, we need someone who's good at children, who wants to be a production assistant. So like the lowest level of film. And I applied for that. I sent them like a corporate resume with Kwok Wai Kung Fu on the resume. Said I work with kids all the time. They're like, oh my God, this guy works with kids before and he's like older and he wants to be a PA when everyone's too scared to go outside. Let's hire this guy. And that was my first gig in the film industry as a production assistant for the show called Junior Chef Showdown Season 2, which is basically Master Chef, but with kids. And you get to see all the TV magic of how it's done. You find out these kids can't actually cook. There's a lot of, like, you pull back the curtain, you're like, oh, there's no surprise. They know what ingredients they were cooking with. And
it's just theater.
Most of this is, it's just theater. Like, the food doesn't taste amazing or anything. It doesn't taste horrible, but like, they're just, it's for TV. It's kids. Something to do during the pandemic when you can't go anywhere and you need to watch something, right?
Yeah.
So after that, I started networking in the film world a little bit and did like a few more PA gigs, moved up the production ladder to, I think I became a third AD for a little bit as well. AD? So, and Eric would probably know back there. I don't know if we can point the camera at Eric and make him wave high. There he is. There's Eric. He's beautiful. Not enough to be in front of the camera, but beautiful enough. So third AD is basically someone who wrangles a talent. So they'd be like, hey, Billy, 9-year-old Billy, do you want any candy? Okay, cool. You got to be in hair and makeup in like 5 minutes. So wipe the snot off your shirt and go over there. Okay, we need you on set in like 5 seconds. Okay, you're going to go to set. And we're just directing them around. So essentially kind of like just a coordinator for the talent. Yeah. And eventually I did it for a show called Wall of Chefs Canada. It's just a lot of cooking shows, a lot of reality shows. So I did that for a little bit. I was also an assistant production coordinator for like a month on the show called Amazing Race Canada. So all the production stuff was how I kind of made it through 2020, 2021, a little bit of 2022. And so it was like I wasn't full-time in comedy yet because I was still trying to find my legs and figure out how to make steady cash and stuff like that. And on top of that, like trying to find work in voice acting. So I'd say 2023 was the first year I didn't have to rely on being a crew member. And I was able to kind of pay off my quota that I'd agreed off with my wife purely off of either stand-up or voice.
And you're like freelancing those?
Yep. There's no like real full-time job when you're in stand-up or when you're in voice. I mean, there's corporate gigs, but at the end of the day, you're just working for different bookers and different companies and just trying to scrap together things. And you start to learn that you have to make your own opportunities at the end of the day. So especially with the film industry, you can't wait for someone to just give you that opportunity. With stand-up, it goes through all of these different evolutions. So back then, the evolution was like you'd have a great set, you'd get discovered by like somebody at a TV station or late night or something like that. They put you on TV, then you hit it big, and then you start a TV show. After that, you would have to like be signed to a club, and then you make it big, and then you can sustain yourself. And it goes through all these different evolutions, and a lot of older comics kind of get held back by what their idea of comedy was. So for me, when I started stand-up in 2010, in my head, this club called Yuk Yuks, it's a big Canadian chain for stand-up comics, was kind of like, for me, what I thought in my incorrect mind was the be-all, end-all of stand-up comedy. If I get to Yuk Yuks, I can pay all my bills, I'm good. And you find out later, now that I'm signed with them, that I get paid like tens of hundreds of dollars a year at most. Like, you can't pay your bills like that. So you find out all these other different avenues and channels of finding shows. You find out the business model of stand-up. You find out you have to produce a bit more, work with other bookers, or sell out rooms. And in this day and age of 2025, now the big thing is social media. So it's eliminated a lot of the gatekeepers out of the stand-up game, where back then you'd have to like do some shows, do a showcase, pray that one of the big wigs in the back of the room can get you, they'll find you. But now you don't have to do that. You just have to feed the algorithm. And if you can find enough of a following, then you can actually sell out your own venues, put together your own shows, and make decent money off of it. However, it is incredibly difficult to do. It is a lot of work at the end of the day.
You just had the none.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, everyone thinks, like, I'll just go viral. And it's like, okay, yeah, how many how many little skits of you being like, POV, my wife hates me, can you do before you go viral? It's going to be like a few hundred.
There's
if
also like
anything.
a science to becoming like getting viral.
Oh my God, yeah.
There's so much things. People just think, oh, you can just post one thing, make it a little different, boom, like tens of millions. But there's actually like science and like studying human psychology and stuff like that to actually figure out or pick out what things go viral, what people would actually like want to watch. As well.
But there's so much more to it too. There's also the algorithm and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and you'll know this from, I guess, doing your socials as well. Like the algorithm at a certain time will favor one type of media or one kind of viral content or a content that has a chance to be viral. And then all of a sudden it switches it up. Is like one time they like stand-up clips and they're like, okay, no more of that. And they start to like crowd work clips and like, okay, we're sick of that. Now just do like, the your face, just like a talking head, and then they'll like favor that out and they're like, okay, now do a skit. And it's like, okay, we want stills and with words in the front, and like, okay, we don't want words anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just constantly evolving, and you got to find out like what time to post, how long your thing has to be, what your hook's gonna be.
Being
Do you put the ending in the beginning or do you put the beginning in the end now? And it's its own job at the end of the day, right?
It's a lot of brain power as well.
Yeah. Plus, you have that as that's going to be mental overhead, and that's going to take time out of what you want to go viral for. And for me, that's stand-up. So whatever time I'm thinking about, like, what little TikTok dance am I going to do is time that I'm taking out of writing a joke or booking a show or any other, like accounting, having to run your own business in stand-up. Like a lot of the overhead, boring stuff that's not artistic but necessary in stand-up. And it's just, there's only so much time in the day for that kind of stuff. So viral it's tough. It's weird, yeah.
Is there something specific that I need to understand about how you grew up to really understand?
You watched me grow up in a weird way. You watched
don't say it like that.
My dad. You know what? Every Asian comic is going to be like, oh my God, yeah, I'm disappointed in my parents. This is not the job they want. Oh, they want an artistic kid. My parents were actually pretty cool. Well, I think my sister also paved the way a little bit for it.
Because I know your dad.
Yeah, you do know my dad.
I do your dad.
And he's super chill, super laid back. It's my mom that was kind of like a little bit more standardized, more old school, more prudish. And my sister, so she was a girl in an Asian household.
Older sister?
Younger sister. My younger sister knew out the gate she wanted to be in the arts. She wanted to be an actress. So she went to York University to be an actress. And that was like, she had that argument with my parents. Right? Whereas I was the good first elder Asian son. I was like, I'm going to be an engineer or a doctor. I'll go to Ryerson and I'll get a scholarship.
Yeah.
And I had the whole IB thing behind me. So they're like, okay, cool. Yeah, do whatever you want. You're going to have a real job. With my sister, she's like, I want to be an actress. And it was like screaming matches with my mom and stuff like that. But my dad is artistic because he had the kung fu school. He can play the guitar. He thinks he can sing. And so he's been fairly supportive of both me and my sister. And my mom's kind of come on board as well. So they are pretty supportive about it. I think it's hard to say how they felt towards my sister. I think they're always checking up on us. They're like, "Are you guys okay? Do you need us to support you in any way?" And we're like, no, we got this. It's not. We're older now. It's our job to support you, like a good Asian kid with immigrant guilt and whatever. Yes, you feel that too, right? Yeah. So, no, they were great. My dad was a bit stricter. Like he did want me to focus on studies before when I was like 9, 10 or whatever. And then he really wanted me to focus on Kung Fu. And he wanted me to take over the school as I got older. Even to the day that we had to shut it down, he was trying to find ways of
keeping it alive,
handing it off to me.
Yeah. Oh, to you specifically all the time?
Well, to me. And then he could tell, is like, I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So there was other people like Seafood Jazz, Seafood Ben. That was like, do you guys want to also be a part of this?
Yeah.
And people have lives. And Kung Fu was something that I always appreciated, but was never passionate about. And I can tell you this now because you don't pay me anymore. But it's one of those things where like I didn't wake up and just dream like I can't wait to go to Kung Fu, right? For me, it was like I can't wait to. I had a bunch of hobbies actually. So I was in piano when I was a kid. I was like I would be excited to go to piano. when I was single and then you just got out of university, had a desk job. There's a salsa school across the street from where I,
You salsa dance?
yeah, so I salsa danced for a little bit. I was passionate about that. Like I loved doing that. I was excited to go to that because, and if you take Kung Fu at all, a lot of the foundations are the same. So like,
To salsa dancing?
yeah, so all those 8 self-defense moves we had to teach and we tested you on. Same movements completely. All you have to do is like at the top of like hammer locking someone, you let go, and that's it. And instead of like breaking their arm, you spin a girl around.
Okay.
And all of your cat stance, your forward stance, whatever, all those stances, those are just your salsa steps and all the footwork you learn. So I slaughtered a lot of the people in like the level 1, level 2 class until like you get to higher levels.
Yeah.
And every martial artist I've seen that like gets into salsa dance,
They do well.
it's insane how good they are. Plus, they have the expressiveness. They don't have that stiffness of like. Sometimes you watch certain people dance, white people. So sometimes you watch certain people dance, and it's like watching a robot. Like they can't, it's every.
It doesn't flow.
There's no flow.
Yeah.
And then you watch a martial artist dance, and it's like, oh shit, his hips are moving. Like he's got the moves. He didn't break her arm. There's personality. There's style to it. He's like flaring a little bit, and it was great. And you'd meet people. So there was that, and I was passionate about that. But I appreciated Kung Fu for giving me that foundation. But yeah, I never woke up and just thought like I can't wait until the next Kung Fu class.
I can't wait for Monday rolling to see Sifu Dean.
Like I was like, okay, I can't wait until 7 o'clock on the. Okay, pack up. Okay, 6:55. All right, pack up. Take a while to pack up. All right, okay. Yeah. Sit here. I'm going to talk to you until 6:59. Okay, go home. Do you want your money back for the tuition that you paid? I guess now. No.
All those years?
All those years
it's
of
a decent
just
amount.
doing my job.
Is there something specific that you missed about
Kung Fu?
Your old life?
My old life? Which life? Like IT?
Like before the pandemic, before the full time.
Ooh, stability. It was nice to be able to just. I never looked at the prices of things. Like I made.
Are you Asian?
Huh? I mean, I did, but I never worried about it. So I'd be like,
okay.
I want to buy this video game or whatever, but it's $80, whatever, who cares? I just do it.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like, do I got a gig coming up? Can I afford this $5 Steam game that's already on sale for like 75%? I don't know. So you worry a bit. When you're a freelancer, you worry a little bit, right? Because you don't know when your next few paychecks are coming in after a certain point. So me as a freelancer, and any freelancer is going to go through this, you got to line up your gigs and you'll see like, okay, I have these coming up. I have X amount coming in, and you budget a lot more. But when I had like a steady gig where it's kind of like, okay, a paycheck's going to come in every 15th and 31st of the month. I'm just going to spend whatever. And I have this for budget, this for rent, this for food. Cool. And I'm good. Mm-hmm. But now it's kind of like, okay, what can I do? Like, did I earn this? Will this take out of my time?
Can I afford it?
Can I afford it? Yeah. So it's made me more responsible with money because I was responsible back then, but at the same time I wasn't. Like I was like I'd have money and I'd put some away, but
you knew you were fine.
I knew I was fine, but I spent on a lot of dumb stuff. Like I would see a sale at a board game store and just come home with like a lot of magic cards or something like that, and my wife would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know. Who are you gonna play it with? You don't have friends. I'm like, I know. Will you learn magic with me? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay. Well, I already opened it, so I can't refund it. Sorry, babe. Money's gone. Just we'll figure it out next paycheck. And you wouldn't care. And now you found out Sifu Dean's a giant nerd, right? He was like, he plays Magic the Gathering. Does he shower? This is weird.
Yeah. Does he go outside besides shows?
There was a time I didn't.
Okay.
I was a giant, especially during the pandemic. There was one time I think I walked into a store and they were like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like frozen because I hadn't talked to somebody in like a week. I was like, I got nothing going on in my life right now. I just like walked away.
My first time outside in 2 years, actually.
Yeah, pretty much. I was a sweaty Magic the Gathering kind of personality.
Before 2010, because you started at 2010, you said, right? Mm-hmm. Was there a specific moment that you realized making jokes, making people laugh, this is what you wanted to do?
Oh, you want to hear the origin story, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was a super awkward kid in all of high school, all of university. Didn't know how to talk to girls. I'd freeze up. And then it was around this time, it's This is a weird kind of origin story. It's kind of embarrassing. It was a time when there was this guy named Mystery.
His name is literally Mystery?
His well, not no, he made up his name. Is this era where there's this whole thing called pickup artists?
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of that. You might be too young for that.
Pickup artist.
Pickup artists?
You could just explain it.
Okay. So pickup artists was a bunch of like nerds, awkward people. They didn't know how to talk to girls, and this guy named Mystery who would like dress up in like steampunk clothes, a pink fuzzy hat, and goggles, and he would show up to a nightclub and hit on girls.
Okay.
And he wrote a book called The Game, which is basically an engineer's textbook on how to talk to girls. And I saw this on late night. I think it was like Conan O'Brien. I was like this awkward kid who was like catatonic when I saw a girl with like a 4 out of 10 was enough to like render me useless or something like that, you know? Just like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Oh, talk to her. So I bought this book. I read it. And there's this whole stigma around it where every guy who got into like this whole pickup artist thing is a creepy dude. And kind of, yeah, like at the end of the day, you're giving a guy a tool, right? And it's no different than giving a girl makeup. Like you're just maximizing your ability
Potential?
to meet another person. And it's like giving someone a knife. You can use a knife to cut a steak and just eat, or you can use it to murder someone, right?
Yeah.
So it's a power that can be used for good or evil. And a lot of the guys who got into this book went off the deep end and started just like going to Yorkdale Mall and doing this thing called sarging, which is like hitting on random girls just as they're shopping at Aritzia or something, and trying to just like increase the number of bed notches in their post. And I just want to find love. I just want to find a wife, just one girl, not treat her like trash. And just like, just settle down, have a normal family. Yeah. Right. So I read this book and they laid out this entire method of how to talk to a girl. So it's kind of like, it starts from like attraction to comfort to seduction. So like the moment you walk up to someone, there's a whole set of techniques. And then once you kind of like got a conversation going, there's a whole set of techniques. And then seduction, there's a whole set of techniques. And in it, there was this, there's two things. There's this thing, a concept called routines and a concept called negging. So routines are when you talk to someone in your day-to-day life and you make them laugh because you have no interest in, it could be another dude, could be a girl you're just like friends with, you don't care. And you're able to tell a story and it's like, it's natural, it's flowing. Memorize that. And then use that for when you're talking to someone that you're nervous around, and then just kind of like be able to hold a conversation with these rehearsed, memorized stories. And all of my stories were either self-deprecating or funny or had some sort of a weird, like nervous energy joke to them.
Okay.
So when I'd go to a club and I use this, I had these stories memorized. I'd make them laugh. I wouldn't get laid, but like I'd make them laugh at the very least. And there's this other thing called negging, this other concept where it was meant to show that you're not desperate or you're not like this pushover walk carpet person where like they could walk over you. You'll gently jab at them. It's like, oh yeah, that's a nice dress. It looked better on me, right?
Yeah.
And some people took it the wrong way. They're like, because in it, it'd say like, just gently insult the girl. And some guys wouldn't get that. But like, hey, your dress looks like shit and you're fat as fuck. Do you want to have sex after? It was like, and they take it too far. And it's not flirting. It's just mean at that point.
It's just bullying.
Yeah. And like there's times when I did it the wrong way as well, right? But those are also two very core techniques of stand-up, which is one is basically just crowd work. It's like flirting in a way. Like I'm gonna just playfully like tease you, but not insult you. And there's a very fine line, and that line changes depending on the person that you're talking to and what kind of a social dynamic you have with each other.
Yeah.
And the whole routines thing, that's just memorizing bits. Because like the thing that comics do is our jokes are rehearsed, they're written, they're memorized, they're practiced. And over time, they evolve to the point where it seems like we're just making it up off the top of our head if you're good at your craft. But it is kind of memorized at the end of the day. So those two techniques that I got from the whole like pickup artist thing translated really well into stand-up on top of the rest of the structure. So there was like off the top, there was like this thing called attraction where like the moment you approach a girl, they had this thing where like the angle you approach her, you had to like have a protractor and be like 37.5 degrees northwestward or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if you go too far north, you scare her off because you're don't come from behind, then you're gonna like assault her sexually or something like that. It has to be like from the eye line at this angle within 3 seconds, and then say this thing and then do that thing. Walk with a straight back. It was super technical.
This is so technical.
It was nerdy and it was kind of creepy. Like you tell a girl you read this book, they're like, "Oh my god, you're a creep," and then they just run away in the opposite direction. But it was kind of a nerd's handbook on how to just be like act socialize in a normal setting, like a human being, and not like an incel or something like that.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's a lot more common that guys read than you would think, at least in my generation, the millennial generation. And I taught a lot of people how to just kind of like get through life. And it would work for sales. It was just a communication textbook until the last chapter is like, okay, now take your pants off. Here's how you do it.
Okay.
And that part was kind of like the weird, creepy part. But all of that structure translates into stand-up. So how you get on stage, how you pull the mic out, what your presence and your aura is when you get on stage, the confidence that you exude, how you deal with hecklers. All those techniques just came from these little books on communication that I picked up. And I found out it was helpful. It got me through stand-up the first year or so. Like, it got me through like the open mic phase of understanding how to, the dynamics of a social interaction. And then you translate a little bit because there's a power dynamic in stand-up as well. When you have a mic, you just have a bit more power over a crowd of people, right? And they're there to listen to you. And once you get past the open mic phase, they paid money to see you, so they want to get their money's worth. And it's harder at the open mic phase because you're playing to a bunch of other different comics or people who are there for free. So that power dynamic changes. You're like, how do I get these people who paid nothing to be here listen to what I say? Yeah. So that was my life before. Is that the question we asked? I already forgot what we were talking about.
The question was, I mean, I guess you already answered it. It's like
life before 2010.
No, the specific moment you realized you wanted to do comedy.
Specific moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was a combination of that, and I'm taking stand-up class at Second City.
Yeah.
And then doing well at it. And I was like, this is the addiction of after your first set of like you go up there by yourself and you get the validation of strangers. Yeah, just laughing at your jokes.
Liking what you do, who you are.
Yeah, and they come to you like, hey man, good set. That was really funny. Yeah, and you're like, oh my God, I need this again. And it doesn't come like a lot of the time, like especially in your first year. You think you're good, but it's a supportive crowd the first time I did stand up. Second time, complete dog shit. It was like an open mic. They weren't there to see me. It was just a random bar in Mississauga. And like, okay, cool. Yeah. I was like, oh, you're funny. And then you bomb sometimes and it eats away at you.
So then how do you, because you said you would never show your first set.
Never.
Was it a good set? Did people find it funny?
I don't know. The jury's out on that one. I want to say people laughed. But in any setting where it's not your people, it was like a potluck of people bringing all of their friends and loved ones to see their first set and being supportive. I don't show it because I have this policy as Asians that we don't set our people back 100 years. Right? But my first set was it was just shitting on myself. It was like a lot of that internalized racism of like, you know, the Asian dick jokes. We can't drive. We're all awkward guys who can't talk to girls and shit like that. And those were my jokes. And I had just gotten out of a relationship at that point. So I made myself look like the biggest loser. Like it was just, hey guys, laugh at me, not with me. And like I look at it, I'm like, this is not helping any Asian person. It's not helping me look good. And there was a time I took some friends out to an open mic. And after my set, they're like, you're funny, but you're also making sure you never get laid after a set. And that was kind of like the light switch. I was like, oh shit, I gotta stop talking about how much of a loser I am. I started trying to write differently and changing kind of like my whole mindset on like, I've got a mic in my hand. I have power. Am I going to use it to shit on other Asians? Or I'm going to try to use it to make myself look good and lift all of us up a little bit. Yeah. And that changed how I approach stand-up. And then I met my wife and she's like, okay, now stop talking about your dick. Like stop doing like dirty jokes and blue jokes. Do clean. There's more money in that anyway. And that was kind of like the next evolution of stand-up for me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I got the origins now.
Yeah. So I wasn't as cool as you thought I was. You probably didn't think I was cool in the school. But
I just thought you were a teacher. I thought you were like the chilly shit. Oh, it's Monday.
Oh, it's Monday, man. I gotta be here. Oh, all right, fine. I'm not high right now, but I will be when I get back home. Yeah, that's the origin story.
Interesting. And how old were you then? When you read that book, I guess.
When I read that book, oof.
In high school?
21. I was 21 years old.
21 years old.
Yeah.
Post-secondary?
Yeah, in university, just discovered that book. I barely read books. It'd take me forever. I finished that book. I skipped a class to finish reading that book.
Oh, you were into that.
Like, it was a great, because I was like, you know, you're in your prime clubbing age. You're horny as shit at 21. And like, all right, I'll give you some girls, right? I was like, oh, okay, this is how you do it. I just have to say these things. And you find out like you still have to be yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Was there a specific conversation that you had? Doesn't have to be during that period. That kind of, I guess, opened your mind, or it was like the most life-changing thing?
Like to become myself?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because it seems like reading this book really turned you into a new person.
It did. I'd say kind of the first kind of like almost reversal or correcting. So I'd say like the pendulum swung, like the first overcorrection was reading that book and it just kind of pushed me off the other edge. The first time I turned down a date because I really badly wanted to go do an open mic and tell jokes. And I think this girl was pretty. I don't remember who she was.
Why don't you invite her to the open mic?
Because it's not my best jokes. And I knew like it was like I want to do this open mic. There's some new stuff I want to work on. I really want to try this out. I don't want people I know to be there because I also didn't like performing in front of people I knew, in the chance that like I'd bomb or like especially with an open mic, it's not the best conditions to it wasn't the best conditions to kind of show off your skills if you want to develop a joke, right? So like when I write a joke, it's not always funny off the top of my head. So I didn't want to bring her there. And there was one girl I brought to an open mic, and it was show up, go up. It was, I think, a 3-hour show. She stopped seeing me after. I was like, oh yeah, no, let's just stop. Oh, we're in Mississauga. Okay, let me pick you up. All right, let's just quickly stop by this thing. I'll just tell a few quick jokes and we'll go out to dinner. Yeah. It's 3 hours, terrible comedy, and she was just.
Do you think
so
she just
over
hated? Do you think she just hated comedy?
No, I think she thought it was cool at first, but like
being there for so long,
being there for 3 hours through bad comedy, and then I go up and eat shit. Yeah, but it was like you can't not eat shit in like once like the crowd starts at like 12 people and it dwindles down to like 3. One of them is the girl you brought.
That takes a mental toll too.
Yeah, so it's and I just didn't care because I loved stand up that much, and I realized, oh, I found something. Like you kind of exit that like horny, hormonal, like 21, 25-year-old like guy phase, and you're like, I found something that is who I am. I'm not just like going out into the world just to meet people and stuff like that. Like I found something I'm super passionate about. I love this more than anything else. And I know I would, because during the time when I was dating, I realized if anybody got in the way, if any potential life partner stood in between me and stand up, I would choose stand up over them. Like that's how much I like stand up.
You found your thing.
Yeah, and I loved every second of it. Like bomb, crushing, like however you did, I loved it so much. And there was like this power dynamic. I liked being in front of an audience where you could have like 10 Victoria's Secret models standing in the front or sitting in the front row. I would feel completely comfortable talking about them or talking to them. And the moment you take that mic out of my hand and I had to talk to them one-on-one, like the nerves are going to kick in because it's like, okay, I've lost my sword and shield. Like this is a normal human interaction now. It's not this different. Yeah, okay, you're allowed to talk back to me. Oh, it's not, you know, but like with stand-up, it's okay, all eyes are on me. You're going to listen to me. And the only way you talk back is if I screw up so badly, you feel comfortable enough to speak your mind, or you're just absurdly intoxicated, or it's a bridal party, or like a bridesmaid. What is it? A bachelorette party. But most of the time, I got the respect on stage, and that's something that I also kind of craved. I think because I didn't get that much during my childhood. I was like a weird, awkward kid that got bullied. So now I was like, oh, people are listening to me, and I'm the cool one in the room right now with the mic in my hand, and I think that is also a big contributing factor into how I got into stand-up.
You know, just pop back into my mind. On your Instagram, you have the
At the Kung Fu Job?
the Kung Fu show.
Oh yeah, where all the my dad opened the school and all the bullies joined the school.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that just popped into my mind.
Yeah, no, the bully was my dad. No, he's the one that beat me up. No, there was there wasn't too many bullies. There was if I got bullied at all, it was probably some of it was like in the school.
Yeah.
But it was mostly because my dad would pair me up with like some of the tougher kids when I was just a student, like I was 8. So my dad's business partner had a son named Walid. He was really great at Kung Fu. Great guy as well. But I'd have to spar with him. He just beat the shit out of me. And it was like, oh, okay, well, Dean can't handle Walid. Let's make him fight his little sister. And she would beat the shit out of me. Because she's a nice girl, super cool, but she was tough. Like she knew how to fight because it was just a good fighting family.
Yeah.
And she would just bully me in the ring. But then after I was like, oh my God, this is for kicking your ass. And in my mind, like that's the story of that joke. Actually, come to think of it, there is a joke that I do. They cut that joke off in my CBC set, but I talk about how you can't say, you have to watch what you say in front of kids. And I think we have that clip. Why don't we roll it? Can we roll that clip? Here's the thing. I grew up in a very strict household growing up, right? My parents didn't let me swear in the household. So when I grew up, I carried that value into my adult life. I actually don't believe in swearing in front of children. So when I work with them, I try to watch what I say. But kids are dicks. Right? Because a lot of times they'll do the wrong thing at the wrong time. You're caught off guard. You say the wrong thing at the wrong time. So I had this one incident at the dojo a few years back where two of my little 8-year-old boys, all right, they came to the dojo early, looked at me, did not acknowledge me, head back down, straight to the change room, start to argue. So all I heard were two kids screaming through the change room door, a lot of F-bombs being thrown around, a lot of references to fecal matter, until eventually one kid says to the other kid, he's like, hey man, you know what you are, bro? You know what you are? You're a see you next Tuesday. Little 8-year-old boy said the C word. In my house, my place of honor, respect, and discipline, he dropped the C word, and I couldn't hit him because cell phones exist with cameras now, so you can't do that. So instead, I did what any teacher would do, right? I marched over the change room, I kicked in the door, and I was like, hey! You two little boys need to settle down right now, okay? Do I have to stand here and watch you kids change? I don't want to because that would be weird for all of us. I stormed out of there. I was like, oh my God. We had to close down the school that day. But it happened in 2020, so we blamed it on COVID. No one got arrested. It's fine. Still here. Yeah, so that story where I walk into the room and I'm like, you guys need to settle down right now to stand here and watch it change. I think it was you and Eric came to class and you're causing a ruckus in the change room for some reason. And I distinctly remember just walking in there. They're like, all right, what are you guys doing? I have to stand here and watch you guys change. And you guys just gave me this weird look. And I was like, oh shit. And you were like 8 at the time or something. I was like, what the fuck did I just say? I walked out of the room, and that whole bit is like, I embellished it a little bit, but it's all built on that one time you guys were just causing trouble and being noisy in the change room once.
It was us?
I think it was, in my mind, it was you two.
Was that one bit you were talking about?
Yeah, it was it comes right after the Kung Fu bit. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I can even show it to you right now.
No, because I showed it to Eric, and I'm like, do you think Steve Dean's talking about us right here?
Oh, which clips did you watch? You watch a lot of clips?
I watched a decent amount. I definitely seen the
oh,
let
like,
me watch the
you two kids need to settle down right now.
Or we're all gonna
That's you two.
No way, that's us. I don't remember that.
I think you just knocked something over or something, but I can't. Maybe it was is either that or it was like Danny and David or something like that. But when I tell that story, it's you two that's in my head. Like you come in and you're just being noisy for some reason one day.
Did we come in late?
No, it was early enough that I could go in there and make myself look creepy. I had to barge in the room. You guys were just being noisy or something. It was in the Brandon school or something like that. I think it was you two. I don't think you two were that noisy because, like, I don't have any stories about you two because you were good kids. You didn't do anything special to, like, be a story that I made fun of. Like, that whole thing is me making an ass out of myself just for trying to be authoritative and just saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I think you knocked down the lion head or something like that, or you, like, brought it down or something. Maybe it was Danny and David. Yeah, okay, so it was you two. Yeah, you knocked something over. I was like, what are you guys...
How do we knock? It's so high. Oh, we did keep sticks in there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I think, in my head, that joke is you two.
Okay.
That's when I tell that joke. It's like, no, it's these two. It's Eric and Bow. But you're not getting royalties for that. I'm not paying you for that joke.
Oh, shit.
No
I was
refunds.
gonna ask. No refunds?
No refunds on your Kung Fu tuition as well. It's gone. School's closed. We're back. We don't have any more money.
We're back. Okay. Can I ask you a serious question?
Okay, sure.
I have a confession to make. For a long time, I've been gatekeeping this. About 6 years ago, I implemented one habit that completely changed my relationship with money. I started tracking every single dollar that went in and out of my accounts. It began completely manual from pen and paper, then somehow moved into my Outlook calendar. Weird, yeah, I know. and eventually evolved into a fully automated spreadsheet. And that one habit changed everything. It gave me complete clarity on how much money was flowing in and out of my accounts. No more guessing, no more feeling anxious whenever I opened my banking app. I could finally see why I felt like there was never enough left over. Most people think they have an income problem, when in reality, they just have a clarity problem. That's why I turned my personal system into a digital financing template, so you can replace financial stress with clarity and start designing your life with intention. Just head over to the link down below in the description and enter code S2 for 25% off. Thank you. And now let's get back to the show.
Since 2010, you've been doing comedy.
Okay.
And then you went into IT and you did that for 12 years, you were saying?
Yes.
12 years. But you always knew you wanted to do comedy.
I wanted to be an actor first, but I didn't go to school for it. And then after I discovered stand-up and I discovered I was good at it, I realized like, this is the thing I want to do. I thought it was going to be like the main thing for like a while, but then as you move through the industry, you start to realize like stand-up can't stand on its own. So everything needs something else to make you big. For instance, Jimmy O Yang and Ronnie Cheng, for instance. Okay. I watched their sets way back when they were doing like Just for Laughs. Nobody knew who they were aside from like other stand-up comics or like people had seen them live or something like that. And then after Crazy Rich Asians, they exploded, right? Because that's when like people saw them and they started getting other roles in TV and film and stuff like that. And you'd see like, oh, these guys are also stand-up comedians. Let's go check them out as well. And that's how they exploded. Same thing with like, there's a guy named K. Trevor Wilson up here, and he did a show called Letterkenny, but he was a great stand-up. And then he didn't explode until Letterkenny happened, and then all these bigger opportunities happened. So I found out that as much as I love stand-up, you need something else to go with it, which is why I took up the voice acting thing, because I like video games and anime like any other Asian nerdy kid. Yeah. And I figured like, okay, if you can parlay both of those in with each other, where like, oh, check out the voice of this guy do stand-up, or check out the stand-up guy do this cartoon thing or whatever. Yeah. They support each other, and every art form, every little thing has to push itself up. So when there's a great marketing course that I took called League of List Builders. No, actually it wasn't that. There's this one webinar I actually watched for voice actors, where they were saying that in order to build your voice acting business, you have to have all these different cogs in the machine that feed into your conversion system. Okay. Right. So for him, I think he was the voice of like City TV for a little bit, but he would do like a podcast or a website or these classes, and all these little things he would do would eventually direct back to his website, where he would then use his website to convert people into voice acting customers. So for someone like me as a stand-up, I want people to watch my stand-up, but every little thing I do, so if I were to get like a commercial or an acting gig or a video game, or I do like an interview or like even this podcast or something at the end of the day, all of that has to feed back to whatever converts people to buy tickets to my show or book me on their show, which you can do at DKPhanTastic, by the way. But yeah, every little thing that you do has to feed back into that one final cog in the machine, or the switch or the lever that gets pulled so that it turns into money at the end of the day.
The funnel.
Yeah, so you funnel it in. So with like if I got a video game, I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'll sign these little autographs and then check out my stand-up, right? Or if if I'm at the stand-up, like, oh, check out this video game or whatever. But everything every art form supports each other in a way, and you have to have some structure into what you're doing. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just kind of like wading through, which is what I did for like the first 10 years of stand-up, where I just got really good at stand-up, but I didn't know how to make money in stand-up or how to develop the audience or like what I was working toward. So all I did was really get really good at my job, but I didn't know how to sell the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was my question. I was going to say, if you quit your job in 2020 because of the pandemic, why did it take you 10 years to go into comedy? But you explained that
Yeah. So like everything needs to have direction at the end of the day. And what I find with the age of social media is there's kind of a clear-cut way. It's straightforward and not at the same time. So right now, the goal as a stand-up, regardless of your level, build a social media following, right? make people know who you are, then you can sell tickets to shows. And that's kind of like, okay, step one. And then you take step one, you turn that into a bunch of little actionable steps. So how do I get people to follow me on social media? One of the small pieces of the pie is be good at stand-up. It's actually a pretty small piece of the pie if you really think about it, because there are comics out there who have hundreds of thousands of followers and they can fill like a 200, 300 seater room and then bore the shit out of their audience with their mid-ass stand-up for like an hour, right? Because they've spent so much time on the algorithm. They could fill a theater, but they can't fill a notebook, right? Or a joke book.
They're just good at the wrong thing.
They're just good at the wrong thing. It sucks because it's the reality of it. Like, people will still go, if they're your fan, they will watch you, they'll laugh at your shitty jokes. And I focused on being good at stand-up and not getting people to know who I am.
Yeah.
And there's a point in time where I was so worried about, like, because I'm not the fastest writer, I would take down all of my YouTube videos and I hid them all because I didn't want people to watch my YouTube, come to my show, see the same jokes over and over.
Oh.
And then I've written more then, but I haven't really bothered to build up my online visibility, and that's been like a huge kind of like shortcoming that I did to myself, shot myself in the foot for like the past 10 years, 15 years even. So yeah, like step one, like the big one is to just build that social media following. You do that by getting good at getting good at writing jokes, getting good at social media, knowing how to like write content. And now the big trend is with social media, because you spend so much time on your jokes, and you don't have time to write that many jokes. You don't want to show people your jokes. So now all of social media is flooded with crowd work clips because it's disposable. It'll happen there. It's unique. You're not going to do it again. You can't force it on another show. But at the same time, a lot of it is complete trash. It's kind of like, oh, you guys a couple? How'd you meet? And then whatever they say, you're like, oh, awkward answer. Not even your joke. Like, you didn't do anything. You just made a face at their little story, because everyone has like a weird, awkward meeting story. And that's a crowd work clip. And it's like, okay, that's trash. And it doesn't show your skill as a comic, because also there's a bias when you see a stand-up comic post up their crowd work clip. You're only going to post up the funny ones, right? But you don't know what the percentile of good crowd work they do is. So if a comic is doing like 100 shows and they have 100 attempts at being like, how'd you guys meet? 99% of them, most of the time, complete horseshit. But 1%, like that 1 out of 100 time, it's going to be like a nice little clip. They post that up. But if you show up to their live show and they're a crowd work comic or a newer comic or a comic that can't write, chances are you're probably going to be in that 99% of the time where they attempt to do crowd work and fail miserably at it. And because they spent so much time on the algorithm, they haven't learned how to write an actual joke. So they just bomb and eat shit at whatever little shitty show that they've put together. And they're not really a comic. They're just a social media personality.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Because when I was doing, how you like to say it, I say research, you say stalking.
Yeah.
We'll use that interchangeably.
Yeah.
When I was stalking your website and everything, I was looking at your jokes. I'm like, yo, Seafood Dean's really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Seafood Dean's funny. I'm like trying to look for more, and I'm like, there's only 4 jokes. Where's the rest?
Yeah.
I want to keep digging down, but I can't. But then now I understand. You're teasing it so you can go to the actual shows rather than just showing everything.
Yeah.
On, for example, like a YouTube video.
Yes. So yes, but and there's a caveat to that. I think as of reading like this podcast, I have like 1,500 maybe followers. And most of those are just other comics and one of my parents maybe. Like, I don't think my mom likes my stand-up. But 1,500 people. There's like 6 million people in just Toronto alone. That's a really tiny percentile of people who are seeing my stuff. So I really have nothing to fear by posting up my clips because nobody's going to watch it. Of those people, how many you do the stat check on your algorithm? Like, you can see I have maybe a 30-second clip. How many people have like watched the full 30 seconds? And you'll notice a drop after like 5 seconds.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah. And then like maybe 5% of the people who watch. So I have a viewership of say 1,000 people on a typical stand-up clip that I have because I have no followers, right? 5% of that's 50 people who watched it to the end of the clip. Of those 50 people, how many of those are coming out to my show? So me hiding my material at the follower level that I have now does nothing. It does nothing to hinder me. It doesn't hold me back in any way because people who are coming out to the shows, they're not there to see me, or they're there to see a show, or they haven't done their research or whatever. They're just going to take in a show. The stuff will likely be new to them. So me hiding my stuff is really not that detrimental to the quality of the show itself. And if you are a fan and you've seen my stuff and go to a show and you're disappointed, at the very least, I can say, oh, cool, I've got a fan, right? And I should be thinking in that mindset. However, I also just recorded my first stand-up album / comedy special on September the 4th. So that'll be coming out hopefully early 2026.
What is a comedy album? How does that look like?
Okay, so the way a lot of Canadian comics make money is one of the big channels is through Sirius XM radio, where what you do is you actually record kind of an audio kind of album of your stand-up. So it's like a stand-up that you can listen to. There's no visual aspect to it. And then you submit that to Sirius XM. And then they pay you a bunch of money if they accept your stand-up. So if they like your stuff, they'll play like 1 or 2 tracks from your comedy album on satellite radio, and you get paid a good chunk of change for that, depending on how often you get played or the quality of the clip. And that's one of the big channels of revenue for a Canadian comic, on top of like selling tickets or doing whatever engagements or corporates or producing shows and all that stuff. So me recording a comedy album, that is the audio version of that. I also did it at Comedy Bar, where they had a 6-camera setup, so there's going to be a video portion of that as well. If I'm lucky, maybe we can sell it to a bigger distributor like Crave, I guess, which is owned by Bell Media in Canada. But most likely it's going to be on YouTube, because the downside is, as a Canadian comic with 1,500 followers, like not even an influencer, just a civilian at that point, nobody knows who I am. It's going to be hard to convince anybody on any network. It's like, hey, check out this nobody comic you've never heard of, watch their special and become their fan, and then go see their show right after they just record the special, where they're still doing like maybe 80% of the same jokes while they work on a new hour. So what I have to do with the stand-up special that I recorded is I'm going to have to put that up on YouTube, get people to watch that to understand, okay, this is who I am as a comic. I exist out there. And then I'm going to take that, chop it up into all these little clips, put that up on social media, pray to the algorithm gods that they pick up, and then send me some followers. And during that time, I've bought myself runway to write enough new jokes that if people were actually going to see me as a fan and see me live, they're not disappointed at just seeing the same shit that they just saw on like TikTok or Instagram or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, it's 15 years of my life work in my first album, so I'm proud of it. I can put that up online. I'm trying to not do that material anymore as I develop new jokes.
And how many tracks or how many things do you have on there? How do you lay out the album? Is it one continuous? You just chop it, or is it like actual tracks? Say like 12 tracks, and does each track, is it like one joke, or is it like a segment?
So for me, I'm going to track it out based on like jokes. So I'll have like a full joke. It's like beginning of a thought. So the basic setup of a joke is like setup, punchline, and each track needs to be self-contained so that I can submit it to SiriusXM, where if you're just to listen to the comedy radio, you hear the full beginning of the joke, the middle of the joke, and the end of the joke. There's no missing context or anything. And that would be one track.
Okay.
Yeah. But then with a joke, you also have like set a punchline, and then you have something called tags. And tags are like where you take a joke and you just like milk as much extra laughs as you can out of it. So something like that, you'll have your punchline, you have like another quick line that goes after it, or another one, or another little thing. And if it's self-contained enough, I can take one joke, chop that up into maybe 2 or 3 quick reels at like 30 seconds, throw that up on Instagram, and then the technique for me, which I believe right now from my research, I could be mistaken, is to make sure that people watch the full special or lead them back to my website, or somehow turn them into a follower, and then turn that follower into someone who will buy the product either in the form of a ticket to a future show if I go to that city, or to hire me for a corporate or a private gig where the money will be better, and then basically turn that into like a full load of tickets that I can make some money off of.
Interesting. Okay, so each track is technically a joke.
Like one joke, yes. I think it's gonna be like maybe 12 or 14 tracks on that one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because I saw that you're like releasing an album, and I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
DKPhan's actually a rapper. No, it's just me giving you a kung fu lesson, but by audio. It's an audio book on kung fu. Yeah.
Track 1, we're gonna learn how to do self-defense.
Debate.
1 to 8.
Track 15, 16 moves.
Oh my god, there's 16 moves.
Track 17, 100 push-ups because you were being bad. Track 18, what do you learn kung fu for?
Track 20, stick form. Is there an insecurity or fear that not just you, but I would say in general comedians have that people who are not in the industry wouldn't understand?
Insecurity or fear that every single comic goes through?
Yeah, besides not their joke not being funny.
It's like, am I wasting my life? What am I doing this for? Am I wasting my time? A lot of it's pretty existential, I feel like, because you're just screaming into the void. Like, a lot of comics don't have that direction. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know, like, they know what they're doing in terms of getting on stage, telling a joke. But beyond that, a lot of it is like, what do I do after this? Like, how do I leverage?
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for any art form, I think, like, if you're a visual artist or like a musician or whatever, like, you go up, your happy place is in that moment where you're telling your joke, you're singing your song, you're painting your art or whatever. You get off stage and you feel empty inside. It's like, okay, the fun part is done. Like, what do I do now? What plan the next show? When do I make money? How will I eat the next day? Will I be relevant tomorrow? Who do I have to compete with? I'm getting older. Like, I just turned 40 and, like, a lot of these big comics, their prime is like their 30s, you know, like, you heard like Ronnie Chang, Jimmy O Yang, Shen Wei, like those guys, they made it when they were like 30. And I just hit 40 and nobody knows who I am. Right. And then I just wonder every day is like, okay, am I too old for stand up? And the answer is no, I don't think you are. Like, when you start early in stand up, when I started when I was 25, I was going up there and just telling dick jokes. And I offered nothing, no insight, no perspective into the world. And as you get older and the comics who start in kind of like their early or mid 30s, you notice they're just better out the gate, not because they're prodigies, but they're just older, they're more seasoned, they're more experienced as human beings. You've seen more stuff, you have a perspective, you have something to talk about. Yeah. And then you go on stage and you know how to kind of like behave in a social setting. And you know what you can offer to the world. You know what your value is. But when you're a kid, your entire life experience is like homeless people in the TTC and my dick. And it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, that's every other 22-year-old comic offering nothing. Or like if, you know, you're a 22-year-old female comic, like, my vag, I'm a slut. And I was like, okay, you sound like every other female comic. There's nothing to offer. You're not going to stand out in any way unless you come up with a really well-written vag joke. But once you get older, older comics have something to offer. They have something for the audience to take home. And you kind of know more about yourself and the world a little bit. And it's doing stand-up is kind of like a snapshot of where you are in your life and where the world is at that point in time. Because like there's a lot of comics that do political humor. And you find out, okay, what's happening in the world? And a lot of the life lessons I've learned in the world came from stand-up. Like, you tell your point of view, your lesson, and then you just add a punchline to the end of that. And the punchline is generally the hardest part a lot of the time, because anyone can get up and be like, here's my point of view. And I'm like, cool, but I paid for a joke. Where's the joke? Right? But you still get a point of view at the end of it. Whether or not people want to listen to your point of view, that's a whole other thing. They want the punchline at the end most of the time, you know? Yeah.
Okay. Is there any common misconception people have about the industry?
It's not glamorous. Comics aren't cool people. We're not like the cool guys you see on stage. Most of us are losers. No, we get on stage. Your persona on stage doesn't always match your persona off stage. Like,
I agree.
You could be super outgoing on stage, and then off stage you're just like an introvert. And I would say that for an art form where you are socializing and you're there and you're being this person who just talks to random people, it has, I'd say, the highest number of introverts and awkward people out of every other art form. Like you see, like actors and stuff like that, and they tend to be a little bit more boisterous and gregarious, and they can talk to people, and they're outgoing.
And if you talk to enough actors, a lot of the time you're just talking to Beaker from the Muppets, because most of the time it's just like me, and you're like, okay, shut the fuck up. But comics off stage are like, oh, okay, I've told my jokes. Those were my rehearsed lines. I really have nothing to say right now because I got to think of it and write it down and then like workshop it. Yeah, so comics tend to be, I think, percentile wise, there's a higher percentile of like shy comics than there are shy actors.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I guess anybody really, when they see someone on stage or someone in their moment, they think this is who they are.
Yeah.
But you're saying
like
off
it's
camera, it's totally different.
It's different. And being funny on stage doesn't always mean you're funny off stage. You just could be like a very like a cerebral, thoughtful person who you've come up with this funny thing that you wrote. But there's a difference between being rehearsed funny. Like the things I've said, like some of my jokes are like 15 years old that I finally just put on that album. And that's like 15 years of rehearsing the same like 2-minute line to the point where it's like perfected and super funny. And then off stage, if I'm being funny, it's likely it's just verbal vomit, right? But it's not going to be reproduced. It's not always going to be a banger. Sometimes I'll try to say something funny and it's not funny. Like funny needs to have, it has to be organic and there's an aspect of timing that has to go with it. And when I'm the only one talking, I can control that timing. But when there's like a two-way dialogue between you and I talking, if I try to force a joke, it's not going to be funny. If it's something that happens organically, it'll be funny, but it might not always happen. And the flip side of that is there's a lot of people who are the funny one in their group of friends, and they go on stage and they just eat shit because they don't know how to write a joke. It's very different being funny with people who know you, who have backstory, context, so all the stuff that they know about you. You don't have to explain it. Taking that funny and translating it to on stage where you have to talk to a group of strangers who don't know your name, your backstory, your life story, your upbringing, anything about you, and trying to turn stuff where you talked about your friends into something where, oh, my friends are funny. It's like, we don't care who your friends are. I don't give a shit. Like, that's different as well. So comics off stage, just treat them as another person than the person they are on stage. They have points of views. Some of them are made up, some of them kind of true. Like if you have a completely racist comic on stage, they might be a racist off stage, or they might just be bad at writing jokes and just doing hacky, low-hanging fruit, but they might actually be incredibly not racist for some reason. I mean, like if they're going on stage and being like, well, Asians can't drive, I'm like, do you really believe that? Or do you just not know how to write a joke? Or is everything you found that's funny off of Reddit and you've decided to use that on stage?
Yeah.
You know, so.
As a comedian, I want to ask a very simple, but yet genuine question.
Okay.
Doing this for 15 years now, it's safe to say you've grown and gotten really comfortable into who you are today. Would you say?
Debatable.
I'm sure you had your ups, your downs. I'm sure you had to go through a lot of turmoil, awkward silences, hecklers, people not laughing at your jokes. People think you're actually just not funny. Through all of it, how did you build up your self-confidence and your self-esteem to go through 15 years of maybe sometimes not the best moments?
So fun fact, I don't have any self-esteem or self-confidence, and I truly hate myself every day when I look in the mirror. No. Practice. There's always... You always need a little bit of that feeling of being on edge when you get on stage. Every time I've gone on stage cocky, I eat shit. I bomb. All right. Because I go in thinking like, oh, this is going to be on autopilot. But comedy is a very dynamic art form where one crowd is not always going to be the same as another crowd. And oftentimes it's not. It's a very different set of people. You look at the demographic and you're like, will they laugh at this? I don't know. And you judge people. So when I go to a road gig out in like some buttfuck town in Ontario, and I assume everyone's going to be like an uneducated redneck, they surprise me. They turn out to be very educated, very loving people. They just happen as a job to be farmers or whatever, but I'm expecting like just a bunch of toothless racists. And they're just hardworking farmhands who are also educated. They have a sense of community. They have a sense of acceptance. And I go in there and I misjudge them and I bomb. Because I assume one thing, but they're completely the opposite, or there's something else. And in that sense, city folk in Toronto sometimes can be the ignorant ones where we just assume like, oh, you live out in the farms, you must be a moron. Yeah. And not always the case. Like sometimes they're actually very well educated people, or they're, you know, diverse, or they're accepting, and they're not like a fuck Trudeau crowd or Carney or whatever. And sometimes they are. Sometimes they are. But you'll never know until you get there and you say your first few words on stage. So there's always that discomfort of like, what kind of crowd is this? And luckily for me, I'm now in that phase where I can do longer sets, where I have the time to feel out what I'm playing to and adjust accordingly. And I have the material to back that up and the technique to back that up. So I can never be too comfortable on stage. The other thing is you're never bomb proof. Like you'll have bulletproof jokes that are like 99 out of 100 times, they're going to work, but it's like a condom. There's gonna be that one time where, you know, shit happens and your bulletproof jokes don't work. And that's when you grow. So the times that I've grown the most as a comic have always been after I've bombed. Because if I go on stage and I just slaughter the crowd with jokes that I know, I've learned nothing. I haven't tried anything new. I haven't figured any new techniques out. But if I try a new joke, if I take some sort of a risk, so I play to a crowd that I'm not comfortable with or isn't my wheelhouse, or I try a new joke that is underdeveloped, that's when you grow a little bit. And if it works, great. Then I know, okay, this joke worked. But if even stuff that's developed, if I bomb that joke, that's when I have to look back at my footage and be like, okay, what did I do wrong here? Was the delivery off? Was the timing off? The words aren't right. The posture's weird. Was my aura different? Did I look the wrong way? Did I say the wrong thing? And that's how you grow as a comic. So you can't just crush over and over and over, play the easiest rooms. Sometimes I'll talk to a comic and they'll bomb and they'll come up to me and say, well, you know what? That wasn't my crowd. And it's like, well, you know what? No, that's a cop-out answer. You just sucked as a comic. Your job isn't to just play to only your own crowd unless you have that kind of following where you can get away with that. But you're a better comic if you can play to any crowd. Like if I go out there and I play to just other millennial Asian people with a sense of humor, yeah, I'm going to crush all the time. And if I go out the next day and play to a crowd of redneck farmhands and eat shit and was like, well, they weren't my crowd. I was like, no, I'm just a shit comic. But it's my job as a professional entertainer that's hired by outside sources to play to whatever crowd you throw at me. So I never blame like maybe once a year I'll blame the audience, or I'll blame the setting. Like maybe the mic was bad, or there was like a tractor running in the background, or somebody was like dropping dishes on the floor, or just everything was working against you. But if you go to a show and a single comic does well, that means that crowd is winnable. And that means if you bombed on that crowd where someone else did well, it's your fault that you bombed and no other factor. And that's the only way you grow. There was one time I judged a comedy competition at Absolute Comedy. It's one of the easiest clubs in the city.
Oh, you were a judge?
Yeah, so I was a judge. It was like I'm not going to say an amateur comic competition. It was like comics of all these different levels, just trying to get seen by. They're showcasing for the club owner essentially. And there was 9 comics on the lineup. 4 of them ate complete garbage. And mind you, this is the easiest club in the city. This is a competition setting with a prize on a prize to be won. So likely you're doing your best material, and then 4 of them bombed. After the show's done, we have to do this little interview thing after the show. And the first question that the club owner will ask the comic is, "How do you think you did?" Right? And these 4 comics objectively bombed. There was no question they bombed. Out of those 4 that bombed, 3 of them said they thought they did really well and were upset that they didn't qualify into the next round. And when you get off the stage and you eat shit and you still think you did well, you're not a teachable comic, A, and B, you're not a self-aware comic, which means you're not a good comic because you have no gauge of what is actually funny or not. And you should just quit comedy and possibly just kill yourself at that point. Like, you have no business being on stage if you're going up there and like eating shit on stage and you still think you crushed. Whereas like if you go up there and you bomb, and you're asked, like, how'd you do? And you know that you bombed. You acknowledge the bomb. That's a teachable moment. That means you're willing to grow. You're willing to listen to yourself. You're willing to take advice from other people and not have your head so far up your ass that you know that, like, you're willing to take outside knowledge and evaluate it. Not every advice that comes your way is good advice. But if you listen to that advice, you can then evaluate whether or not that advice is useful to you or not. And you evaluate what it is, who the source is, what their background, their knowledge, their expertise on that subject is. Does that advice apply to you based on what you know about that other person, right? And if you're able to take in all these little different sources of growth and at least figure out if you can use that knowledge or not. That makes you a better comic because A, you know you aren't the best, and B, you know you have room to grow, and C, you're willing to. Right? And I'll acknowledge my bombs. There's times I have a very perfectionist mentality where if I don't absolutely slaughter, if I do like maybe a 7 out of a 10 show, I'll get off stage and think, that sucked. I bombed. I ate shit. And then people are like, oh, that was a great set. And I was like, sure. Yeah, okay, yeah. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'll just like sit there and like fixate on the one person in the corner, crossed arms, who just was there to have a bad time and didn't laugh, even if the rest of the crowd was having a great time.
Hypercritical?
Yeah, and that's also a bad thing as well. I think it's important that you accept your wins, but you have to know when you've lost as well. Otherwise, you'll never grow as a comic or even as a person, as a business owner, as an artist, as anything you do in life. If you aren't willing to grow and accept your weaknesses and work on them, then if you can't accept them, you're not going to improve. You know?
Yeah.
Like if you're blaming everyone else for your mistakes, if it's like you're playing a video game or any like a League of Legends kind of thing and you suck, but it's everyone else's fault, then you're not a good player.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know?
You're a good team player.
Yeah.
Well, at least in that setting.
Yeah. So like in this case, if I bomb and I blame it on the producer, the crowd, the other comics who buried me or told better jokes or whatever, no, I just sucked as a comic. Like in New York, if you're a newer comic in New York and you get signed to the Cellar, you can't blame anyone. It's one of it's the most prestigious venue one of the most prestigious venues out there, and you got to follow these big acts like a Chris Rock or like a Louis C.K. or something like that. If they do a drop in, you can't be like, oh, the last comic buried me. You got to go up after a big name comic and you got to bring it. And there's no other excuse for not bringing it, right? So, yeah, that's one of my insecurities, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot the question you asked me.
No, that's totally fine. So I like to do, before I record my podcast, I like to put on my story,
Okay.
like, I guess, community questions. So
Okay.
where people, if they wanted to ask, for example, a comedian, what would they ask?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I honestly just have one, but I think this is a pretty good one.
Who's it from?
We'll leave that anonymous.
Ah.
Okay. It says,
Do I know this person?
no.
Oh, okay, fine.
Do you feel that stand-up comedy is kind of like therapy, except you're not asking for advice or help. You're just forcing people to listen to your problems and what you have to deal with.
Oh my God. Is comedy therapy? If you at home feel that you need therapy, go find a therapist. Don't do stand-up comedy as a cheap alternative to therapy. You have problems. You should find a professional to help you with those problems. However, okay, so stand-up attracts, who's a username? Listen, BenTran9999. No, stand-up comedy at the lower levels brings in a lot of people who need therapy, probably me included. I mean, I've been to therapy as well. I think it's useful for everybody. It's kind of, first of all, every comic now, it's kind of, it's borderline hacky to be like, well, I'm in therapy, because every comic now has a joke about being in therapy. Every comic is probably in therapy. If you're using stand-up for comedy for therapy, you have to remember that at the end of the day, your job is to make people laugh, not trauma dump on them. Just because you have a mic in your hand and an audience that isn't technically allowed to talk back at you doesn't mean you go up there and just rant about your problems or be a raging like racist or a hateful person or just talk about how shitty your life is with no punchline and just make them listen to you and wonder why they paid $5 or free admission to a show in the basement of like the middle of Toronto. Don't do that at a comedy. Have a punchline. If you're going into stand-up comedy, your first job before anything else is to write a punchline to whatever you're going to say that punchline, and that punchline needs to make people laugh. That is your first job as a comic, not go up there and force a group of strangers to listen to why your life is complete horseshit. It is not an alternative to therapy. A lot of comics do need therapy, and a lot of comics use it as group therapy. Don't do it. Don't do that.
Dean, what has been the worst piece of advice you've received so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. Worst piece of advice in stand-up. I usually forget the bad advice, and every advice I get has been kind of
kind of good in some sense, where you learn there's some value to be given in advice. Bad advice in stand-up. I don't know. Talk about my dick for 40 minutes, I guess. That's just tell dick jokes. I don't know. Do a bunch of Asian jokes. There's a lot of bad advice you could do. Like, we could have a show just based on giving each other bad advice.
What is it that comedy gives you that nothing else gives you?
Ooh, nothing else can give me, or only comedy can give me?
Only comedy can give you, and that's why you chose to do comedy.
Oh God, that's a really good question. A sense of purpose or a goal, something to do that makes me happy, a sense of fulfillment. I think. Nothing very kind of like tangible, I guess. It's something that gets me going every day. I'll tell people when I do road gigs, the ones that pay the bills, I'll tell people, the ones who aren't paying me or have nothing to do with the people paying me, that I'll do the stand-up for free, but you're paying me to travel, because I love doing stand-up so much, and I'll do it. I do free shows a lot as well when I'm practicing. I mean, you pay for what you get, or you get what you pay for. So if you're doing free shows, I'm trying out new jokes. But yeah, I just love doing stand-up so much that I've jeopardized my relationship, my current even marriage, because of stand-up before. You make a lot of sacrifices in stand-up. It's inherently a very selfish hobby or passion to have, because I want to travel, I want to tell jokes to people, and I just want to keep doing it over and over. And you have to find that balance. So I'm married now, and I have to maintain a marriage. I have to give my wife the quality time that she deserves and has been so supportive of me for. So if I just take advantage of that and just go out and tell jokes and never see her, I think that's really unfair, even though it'd be a lot of fun. But you have to balance all these other things in your life as well, like your health, your finances, your physical fitness, your social circle and stuff like that. You have to keep a healthy, balanced life, especially because that's also how I come up with a lot of material. I can't sit down at a desk and just write jokes, right? So for me, it was a lot easier when I was single and I would just go out all the time and talk to random people. And my stand-up is a lot more, I try to be as relatable as I can, and I can't be relatable. This is a terrible example where I haven't really let you talk, but as an artist, I have to listen. So I have to let other people talk. I want to know what makes Vincent Hill tick. What are your problems? What things bug you? Especially with the age gap, I can't relate as well to a 24-year-old as I can now, without knowing the things that come out of your mouth. And then if I want to make jokes about what it's like to be 24 or things that are relevant to a 24-year-old, I'd have to listen to a 24-year-old talk, but I can't just like write stuff. I was like, oh, well, I think the cool kids who are 24-year-old like this, you know?
Yeah.
Listening is a big part of it. But, you know, when you have a wife at home who wants to hang out with you, it's hard to just go out and just have drinks or chat with random people when you have life duties that you have to attend to as well.
Other priorities that take place first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, a big thing to writing is being an artist or being a human and growing is listening to other people, because the world doesn't revolve around you. When I die, nothing stops. You just show up at my funeral, hopefully, and then get on with your life.
Yeah. I had that realization a couple years ago. I'm just like, people don't care about you as much as you think.
Yeah.
You're just so in your head all the time that you think you're the spotlight.
You stay up at night thinking like that one weird ass thing you said.
Oh my God. I shouldn't have posted this. What does everyone think? In reality, like you said, in the metrics, people watch the first 3 seconds and then it plummets.
Oh yeah. Like you guys didn't remember when I was like, I'm going to stand here and watch you change. You're like, what? You said that? I don't remember that.
I mean, I don't think we had the memory for that at the time.
But now it's like I've centered half of my life around that one bit. I'm gonna put on social media. Do you remember this now? Still no. The answer is no. Was that about me? Yes, it was.
Okay, so, thank you. Eric, can you give me the? You see that card over there? Yeah, that one. All right. And then can you grab me the? There's a marker in my bag. If you can grab a marker in my bag, you're gonna have to dig for it though. There's a marker in my bag. You see it? All right. I'm going to give you this.
Okay. Do I get to read it out loud?
There's nothing written on it.
I have to write you a thank you?
No, hold on.
Thank you, William Hill and Vincent Hill, for the privilege of being on this podcast. I have worked for 15 years to finally make it on the Mindset Journaling podcast for season 2, episode 5.
You're very welcome, Dean.
Yeah. Okay, what am I doing?
So, I got you a card. I'm gonna give you this marker.
I have to write my own thank you note and then you sign your name at the bottom.
That'd be funny, actually. That'd be funny.
Sifu Dean, you were the greatest martial arts teacher I've ever had. I really regret every single time I talked shit about you behind your back. I'm an asshole, and I do apologize for that. Please forgive me, Vincent Hill.
If you can go back in time and speak to your younger self, what piece of advice would you give them that they would carry on for the rest of their life?
Oh, don't do stand up.
This is for you, and I want you to write down that card and then sign it, and that's your little token of reminder of the advice you would give your younger self.
The advice I give myself. Okay. Do we get like a camera angle on this? Dear 21-year-old Dean, you aren't as fat as you think you are. 40-year-old Dean wishes he had your body now. Also, you were more popular with girls than you think. Stop being weird. Signed, Future Dean. Cool.
That's cute. I like the last part.
Yeah, stop being weird.
I think that's my favorite part. Final 2 questions.
This is my handwriting. It's all caps. I don't know cursive. That has died with his generation.
That's
for
crazy.
sure.
Look at that. Look at that spacing gap. Do you need lines?
Do I need lines?
What's it, right?
That's why I got you like line paper. So if you
Are you insulting my? I can't tell if that was a compliment. I can't. For you viewers at home, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being absolute no, 5 being like you would call your mom and be like, "Look how good this writing is." Tell Vincent Hill and Mindset Journaling how good this handwriting is. Was that an insult? Are you saying that it's good writing, or is this just like
I'm
disorganized? You also gave me.
It's kind of.
This is not fine print. This was
Definitely not fine print.
it says fine point black marker. This is a faulty marker. You got to call Studio Markers and you tell them this is false advertising. You demand a refund. You would like a fine point tip for your next set of markers. Get back all $2.99 that you paid for that box of markers.
$125 at the Dollar Castle.
$125 at the Dollar Castle. Not even Dollarama, eh? Just the Dollar Castle, the off-brand dollar store to get off-brand markers. We gotta. Okay, if there's any sponsors that want to sponsor the Vincent Hill show here, hit us up in the comments section. Do a little like and a subscribe and a little heart there, and then we will find some ad space for you in the next season of Mindset Journaling.
All I want is markers, please.
Just or if you want to send some markers.
Oh, and pens.
And pens. Do you have your home address that you can give the viewers out there, and your postal code and social insurance number that?
You want my TD card as well?
And your TD card. Well, also, what street did you grow up on when you were a kid? Your name of your first pet and your mother's maiden name?
AAA Kennedy Square Mall.
AAA. That doesn't even exist. That's like Ryerson. That's gone. That's
Oh, it's gone?
yeah. AAA. You haven't been there. It's like Freshwind now.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
I did
and
not, I
our
have
the
not
old
been
Kung
there
Fu
since.
school is a clothing store now that looks the same.
I've seen.
It's so it's very sad. It's very sad to see what our Kung Fu. Well, I mean, it's basically an empty space. They just filled
It's
stuff
with clothes inside.
Just with clothes and stuff. I should have brought an old T-shirt. Just kind of like, oh, this is my gift to you. This is a size large.
Yeah, I actually had my my kung fu shoes in my room just because I was cleaning out.
the Fayus, or was it the Adidas ones, or the no name brand that we had?
It's like they had wording, but it was like they had really good grip. It was the blue stripe and the red stripe.
Oh, the Feiyus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those are classic. The classic.
Those were good
Every
shoes.
school had them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have a pair of those too. They're bad for lifting weights though, because
They're so grippy. It's
yeah,
nice.
they're grippy. Yeah, they suck to run in because it just feels like you're running on a piece of rubber.
Yeah.
Just like a shopping bag on your foot.
Dean, what is one question you wish more people would ask you, but they never do?
Can I book you? Can I give you money? Don't cut that one. My wife's gonna see that.
Okay.
Leave that part in. Actually, yeah, it's probably just like
Book me.
can I book you? How can I see your next show? And you can check out my next show. I have all my shows listed on my website at DKPhan.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at DKPhanTastic. I also have a TikTok, which I need to work on. So, yeah, it's DKPhanTastic on that. Give that a follow. It has all of like 3 videos on it, and you'll be probably follower 161.
I love your voice acting. It's actually beautiful.
Just like an
You should-
ad voice.
You should be my sponsor for.
Be your sponsor?
Dean, I got a sponsor with Studio Inc.
Studio Inc. Let's why don't we sponsor your business, Kubo T? Where's my phone at? Do we have a spare phone that we can pull up and do a quick little ad spot for Kubo T?
That's fun.
Yeah, let's do an ad spot. Okay, let's hit stop on my phone. All right, is that camera still rolling? Perfect. Okay, cool. So, I think we're done with the DK fan or the Seafood Dean portion, or we're not. I'm sure you're sure. Are there more questions for
I
me?
just
or-
have one more. You can do
Just
your,
one
you can
more.
Do your
All
bit.
right, we got to do a little commercial break here. We got to make sure the sponsors are satisfied with the production quality of this thing here. So, Vincent Hill. It's Vincent, and you can follow our amazing host on Instagram at It's Vincent Hill. And do you have a TikTok, Vincent, that you want to plug in there?
Also, so just on the link, it's where everything's mindset journaling.
Yeah, okay. Basically, he just linked in bio the entire
Linked
thing.
in bio
Just the
everything.
laziest plug out there. All right. So, Vincent here also has his own little bubble tea company. It's called Kubo Tea Canada. Clearly, you're thinking small. It should just be Kubo Tea. You got a branch in the States, buddy. There's Asians in the States. They might be getting deported right now. We don't know. But before they do, let's try to give them a little bit of flavors that taste like home. It's a tagline here.
Canada was Kubo Tea was taken, so we had to add Canada.
Oh, so we have to shut down Kubo Tea, just Kubo Tea. Is that your competitor? Let's look up what Kubo Tea is. So we're going to do a little bit of, this is the part of the segment I like to call DK Fan Does Stalking Research. So let's see. We got
is what I do
Kubo
before.
Tea. Kubo Tea, not Canada. This is your competitor. It is Kubota accounts. Okay, that's for you. Accounts. Kubo Tea USA. There's a Kubo Tea USA, and they have the blue check mark there. Get your shit together. Get that blue check mark, Vincent Hill. I don't even see a Kubo Tea. Oh, here it is. It is. Oh my God. Okay, so you were losing. I don't know if the camera can see this right now. It is an account with a teddy bear, and I think that's Japanese. 5 posts, 2 followers, 22 people following. The first post is just a picture of Buddha. That's it. Nothing that has to do with tea, just religion. And we got what looks like just a toasted little bread bunny here. Yeah, you can see that. That is who you lost out to. Also, that's, I guess, who Kubo Tea USA lost out to as well. So, okay, we got to really push the Kubo Tea Canada brand. Elbows up. All right, Carney will love your company. That's, just put up those elbows. Just knock Trump off his orange, whatever the fuck he sits on. Okay, let's see. So, Kubo Tea Canada. Kubo Tea. I'm just thinking of Kabutops, the Pokemon now.
Kabutops?
Flavors. I'll even follow. I wasn't even following it up until. It's
messed
kind of a
up.
weird thing to call yourself out that the guest isn't even following his side hustle. So I'm just gonna make sure the camera sees it. But we are now, as Mr. DKPhanTastic, following Kubo Tea Canada, and Kubo Tea Canada is an amazing tea house located in, and they serve tea, coffee, and boba. Kubo Tea Canada, flavors that taste like home. Pop-ups and catering, reach them now at kuboteacanada@gmail.com. Or you can check out their link tree at link.tr/Kubo Tea Canada. Use the promo code DKFan for 15% off all orders. Kubo Tea.
That's so good. That's so good.
handcrafted. Sorry, Kubo tea. Handcraft. We'll do a tag. We'll do a little pickup there. Kubo tea. Handcrafted flavors that taste like home. Let's do a wild. Kubo tea. Handcrafted flavors that taste like home. Kubo tea. Handcrafted flavors that taste like home. There you go. You got 3 takes there. Pick one. My agent will contact you shortly. It'll be $2,000 plus for a 13-week run and 110% renewal rate.
That's saying if I include it inside it.
If you could just cut me out of that, and
I could just not release this.
You
at
could
all.
just AI this, if anything. I don't even exist. I'm just an AI generated. There's no writer here. There's no Nava writer for this. I know.
I'm just talking to it.
I'm just a Chat GPT bot. Just
Dean, final question.
Yes.
If you could sum up your entire journey so far in one sentence,
Yeah.
what would that be?
Ooh, that's a good question. If I can sum up my entire journey up in one sentence, it's a roller coaster ride that I never want to get off of.
Dean, thank you.
Thank you, Vincent Hill, for having me on this podcast. Season 2, episode 5 of It's. All right, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It was a lot of fun.
Is there anything else you want to say? I mean, you shout out yourself plenty of times.
Oh, yeah, no, just right
Unsolicited.
down the barrel into the camera. No, that's it.
That's everything?
Yeah, that's everything.
All right, other than that, that's
Cool
it from us.
Little gag reel there. Yeah. All right.